Legends, Doss here, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of crabbing and a little bit of fishing. Now I'm out here with the old boy and my brother Cohen, and we're at Beaver Rock. That's the rock there. Beaver Rock's located just outside Maryborough on the way out to the Sandy Straits. Now Cohen's been getting some good crabs out here lately, and a few people have been getting some king. So we're keen to get into a feed of crabs, so we're going to prep these pots up and throw them out. That'll open up a little bit of room in the boat so we can do some fishing and try and get into some king. Now Cohen wastes no time throwing that big old cast net and gets us onto a few potty mullet and a few herring, and hopefully get us onto a cracking fish. We waste no time and decide to head upriver because that's where the king have been spotted most recently. We anchor up near some rocks and float some big baits out the back. It doesn't take long before Cohen starts getting some interest. What do you reckon, Thready? Now we're only fishing light gear, and that's part of the fun chasing threadies. You go in light and try and get that big fish in. So you can see here Cohen walking around the boat trying to keep it away from the other lines. Try and get this fish in, and hopefully we'll be in with a bit of threadfin salmon for dinner. But
oh, get him in.
Now I don't know if you guys can see that on the video, but it was easy for us to spot. It's actually a decent sized little bull shark. So we still want to get that in because they're still very edible. It might not be what we were chasing, but they're a good bycatch. And he does not have a steel trace on here, so he must have hooked that fish, or that shark I should say, right in the corner of the jaw, because it's the only way you're going to land a shark without steel trace. Now let's see if he can get this in. Yep, it looks like they've wore him down enough. The old boy's able to net him here. And let's have a look at this guy. Nice little bully. Now let him bite you. Now we didn't want to get bitten by the shark on film, although it would have made awesome content. Here's an eagle coming in and eating a little bit of shark guts after we cleaned him out. Must have been a bit heavier than the eagle expected. You can see him not able to get much higher above the waterline than that. Managed to hook this little guy. It's only a little pike eel, but
Eel.
it's cool to see him out here. Don't get bitten by these, they got a fair set of teeth on them. And then I hooked up to something with a bit of size about it. Now this thing was heavy, I know, from when I set the hooks. I managed to feel how much weight this had. Now we're not sure if it's a king or a shark, but it is swimming towards the boat a fair amount. Now the water's super dirty, and I suspect when it sees the boat, it's gonna go. So when it gets in a little bit closer, I do back the drag off in anticipation of this
Get the net.
shooting off like a bullet and trying to get away from that boat once it realises what's happened. Now let's see if I'm right, and if this thing does run for the wind once it sees the hull. See if you can spot the moment the fish sees the hull of the boat.
I'm going to say that's a big king. Let's go back that way down.
There you go, you heard what Cohen said. He thinks it's a big king. I'm still leaning more towards shark. Let me know in the comments what you guys think it is, because
Yep,
you guessed it.
go on.
So for the rest of the morning, the only things we ended up catching were catfish, and it was getting that time to head home, and we thought, why not dart out and check those crab traps just in case. So we wasted no time, pulled up anchor and headed back in the direction of the crab traps, with fingers crossed that we might have caught a buck or two. Now it certainly was a wet trip back to the creek where we had the pots, but it makes it all worth it when you pull that trap up and you can see a few crabs in there. Now look at this. That's a good amount of muddies for the amount of time we've had it soak. This one, he's a little bit undersized, and I've decided I'm going to practice some of my crab wrangling skills.
That's so small.
Managed to get him out without losing a finger, because at this size, they still hurt. He's a bit under, so we let him go. And this one here, that's the biggest out of the pod. And he's no giant, put it that way. He's about 16 centimetres, so he's well legal, and he's going in the box. Now, unfortunately, none of the other traps paid off today, but we've left them in, and Colin and I are going to go and check them again in the morning, if they haven't been checked for us. So as you can see, the weather the next day was questionable, at best. Actually, it was terrible. But we've got to check these traps.
Good times. That is a good brim.
Last time I checked, it was illegal to keep bycatch in a crab pot in Queensland.
Your lucky day, bud.
And Colin and I didn't feel like eating brim, so it was this guy's lucky day. Now, as you can see here, the weather, it did not improve. But we had 8 pots to check, and we were pulling them out today, so we had to get into it. These pots are scattered all over this marshland, and we were catching plenty of undersized crabs, just no big ones yet. Now check this out. This catfish thought he was going to eat that little muddy, but the muddy gave it to him. He lost a claw, but survived anyway, because I let him out, and I know he was still good. Now this is the last pot we're pulling in for the day, and as you can see, again, it's only got undersized crabs in it. Now I think nearly all of our pots had been checked for us, unfortunately, because a lot of them had been moved and the bait was missing out of most of them, which is a dead sign for they've been checked. But that's just the way it goes sometimes.
So we didn't do much good here today. We didn't get any crabs. We did get that little shark, mullet, and a little eater crab yesterday, so that was better than nothing. Been a bit of an adventure down here anyway, but thanks for joining me, guys, and I'll see you out there somewhere.